Hello you beautiful tea minds, more than 2,000 of you already. That's amazing to know that I've got so much support from all of you. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, click subscribe. Also like this video if you like what I'm sharing with you, and don't forget to tick the bell so that you get the latest updates. I'm here in my tea chamber and we're still getting ready for our tea ceremony practice today, so I thought I'd use the time to share a few tips on how to move about on the tatami. There are a few things that you absolutely shouldn't do, so stay tuned because I'll give you 3 hints in this video on what not to do on a tatami mat. So this is going to be a very short video. In this video I want to give you 3 suggestions or tips on what you should not do in a tea chamber or in a traditional Japanese house where there is straw matted flooring. On these mats there are some typical modes of behavior that you should keep in mind, just not to come over as impolite or disrespectful. And if you keep these 3 tips to heart, then you will be able to go into any tatami room without problem. So tip number 1, do not walk on the tatami in shoes. Take off your shoes and also make sure that you're wearing socks, preferably clean white socks. Don't walk on a tatami barefoot because that is also not accepted. In the past, the roads outside were dusty and dirty, and if you had walked about in the streets and then entered someone's house, you wouldn't want to bring the dust inside. So what you would do is either put clean tabi, the socks that you wear in your straw sandals, you put clean tabi over your outdoor socks, or you would change them. And you would change them into clean white socks, because that indicates to the person whose home you're entering that you are wearing clean socks and that you're being mindful of the cleanliness of the house. So tip number 1, always wear socks on tatami, no barefoot and no shoes. Tip number 2, never step on these borders. You always cross the border with one foot or another, and in a tea chamber especially, you open your body up to the alcove, to the most important area in the room. So these borders are not to be stepped on, and it's also a matter of respect. But in the past there's also it was also said that this would be the only place in a traditional old Japanese house through which someone would be able to stick a sword through. So it's also for your own safety. If we think about it from an a feudal military kind of setting, then these are dangerous areas to step on. So it's better not to step on these. And how do you cross them? You always would slide one foot over or the other foot over, so that when you cross the border you're mindful of where you open your body up to. Tip number 3, when you walk on the tatami, try not to thump on it. Try not to lift up your feet and try to slide your feet over the tatami. This will make a nice rustling sound as you slide about. When you step on it, as you usually walk outside, there will be too much noise. It will be unagreeable to listen to. The building might shake a bit, and so you want to try to keep your motion as quiet and as peaceful as possible. So what you want to do is to slide your feet over the matting. Just make that nice and calm rustling sound. This will do several things. First of all, in martial arts, sliding your feet is something that is very common, and that is basically to maintain balance and to always at any given time be able to change your direction of motion so that you can react to whatever your opponent is doing. If you lift up your feet, you're for a moment off balance. So this is a very common thing in Japanese culture, and knowing that tea ceremony is also something that comes from a warrior kind of culture, we may understand that this type of walking is also something that is very common in the tea ceremony and in Japanese culture in general. The other thing that it does is by making this rustling sound, you convey a message to people behind the scenes that can't look inside but can hear. So if you tell them by sliding your feet over the tatami that you are walking about, then that is enough information for them to know what to do next or what not. At certain points during the tea ceremony, for example, you might still be moving around, and as long as you're moving around, the host is not going to enter the tea chamber yet until everyone is seated. So that is a way to send a message that you are still moving around. So when you're walking around in a tatami straw matted room, always try to keep your feet pressed against the mat, sliding about. Do not lift up your feet and make an annoying thumping sound. Just keep it quiet and peaceful. So these are my 3 suggestions for walking around in a tatami straw matted room, in a tea ceremony chamber or in a Japanese house. If you found this useful, if you found this interesting, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos to come, and also click the bell so that you get updated on new notifications. And I hope to see you again in my next video. For the time being, keep it peaceful and keep it nice.